College hazing went too far. I'm the sorority queen now. They didn't scream when they chose me. That's the part people never believe. In a packed basement under Greek row, music pounding through concrete walls, red cups stacked like trophies, and girls chanting a name that wasn't mine anymore. The moment I realized my life was over didn't come with laughter or humiliation. It came with silence. Every face turned toward me. Smiles froze. Someone whispered him. And that's when the sorority president tilted her head, looked straight at me, and said words that still echo in my skull. Perfect. You'll do. Before that night, I was just Ethan Cole, 21 years old, junior year business major, invisible by design. The kind of guy professors forgot to mark present, roommates forgot to invite out, and girls smiled at politely before turning away. I kept my head down, my grades up, and my future neat and predictable. Or so I thought. I didn't come to college to stand out. I came to disappear. The campus itself felt built for that. Wide walkways flooded with people who already knew who they were. Brick buildings heavy with tradition. Greek letters carved into stone like warnings. Parties were loud, confidence was currency, and secrets were a liability. I carried mine carefully. No one knew about the clothes folded at the bottom of my suitcase, hidden beneath old textbooks and hoodies. No one knew how late at night, when my roommate snored and the hallway lights dimmed, I'd lock the door and let myself breathe. Slip into something softer, something that didn't ask me to be louder, stronger, tougher. It wasn't a fetish. It wasn't a joke. It was the only time my shoulders relaxed. But that was supposed to stay private, controlled, temporary. Then there was Isabella. We met sophomore year in a statistics class neither of us wanted to be in. She sat 2 rows ahead of me. Sharp eyeliner, effortless confidence, the kind of girl who didn't ask permission to exist. She noticed me first, which still feels unreal when I say it out loud. Isabella was heat and gravity. She pulled people toward her without trying. Dating her felt like stepping into someone else's life. Parties, late-night diners, spontaneous road trips, conversations that cut straight through you. She liked that I listened, that I wasn't threatened by her intensity. What she didn't know, what terrified me, was that she also liked control. Not cruelty, control. She decided where we ate, what we watched, when we left. She framed it as confidence. And most of the time I let her. It was easier, comfortable, safe. Until it wasn't. Isabella was also deeply embedded in Greek life. Her best friends were sorority sisters, women who ran campus charity events, fundraisers, social calendars. They weren't the shallow party girls everyone joked about. They were strategic, organized, powerful. And they were bored. Hazing wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Officially, it didn't. Unofficially, traditions don't die, they evolve. I got pulled in because of Isabella. Not as a pledge, obviously, but as an accessory. The boyfriend. The harmless +1 who could fetch drinks, carry bags, smile on command. At first, it was jokes, teasing, harmless humiliation. Then came the night they called it a game. They said it was tradition, to test loyalty, to see who could handle pressure, to push boundaries just a little. I should have walked away. But when Isabella squeezed my hand under the table and smiled when she said, "Relax. It's just for fun," I stayed. That was my mistake. Because they saw something in me I'd spent years hiding. Not weakness. Potential. The setting was the old sorority house basement, the one not used for official events anymore. Exposed brick walls, mirrors dragged in from who knows where. Fairy lights strung up like a stage. The air smelled like perfume, alcohol, and anticipation. They told me it was a dare. They told me it was temporary. They told me everyone involved was over 18, consenting, and that nothing would be posted online. Every lie wrapped in a smile. When the first box opened, heels, makeup, a silk dress folded with care, I felt something twist inside me. Fear, yes, but also recognition. They were watching closely. Too closely. Isabella didn't laugh. She studied me, and that scared me more than anything else. Because in her eyes, I didn't see disgust. I saw calculation. By the time they led me toward the mirror, the room had gone quiet again. Not mocking, not cruel, evaluating. I caught my reflection before the transformation even began. Nervous, flushed, standing at the edge of something I couldn't name yet. That was the last moment I recognized myself. I didn't know it then, but that night wasn't about embarrassment. It was an audition, and I was about to pass. The dorm was quiet, but my mind screamed. The sun hadn't fully risen, yet I felt exposed, like everyone on campus could see me, even though the door was locked and the hallway empty. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the box Isabella had left the night before. Inside were her instructions, her choices, a sleek black dress, delicate stockings, a pair of impossibly high heels, and a small makeup kit with labels in her precise handwriting. Follow exactly, the note read. I want to see the real you. I didn't know if she meant me or the other me she was coaxing into life. I tried to fight it. I told myself this was ridiculous. This wasn't me. Ethan doesn't wear dresses. Ethan doesn't paint his lips and curl his hair and walk on stilts disguised as heels. Ethan keeps his life simple, neat, invisible. But as soon as my fingers touched the dress, the smooth silk sliding through my hands, I felt a pull I couldn't resist. A thrill that was equal parts fear and curiosity. I took a deep breath, knelt before the box, and pulled out the stockings first. Sliding them up my legs, I noticed the strange shift in posture. The way my hips tilted differently, how the soft fabric against my skin made me feel smaller, fragile, and yet somehow more awake. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. Next came the dress. Folding the fabric over my arms, I hesitated. Then, almost automatically, I stepped into it, feeling the silky material cling to me. The mirror on the dresser reflected someone I barely recognized. The outline of my shoulder softened. My chest felt tighter, and my silhouette changed in ways that both embarrassed and excited me. The makeup was the hardest. I had no experience, and every brush felt foreign, heavy, intrusive. I fumbled at first, trying to follow Isabella's meticulous instructions. Foundation, contour, eyeliner, mascara, lipstick. The small motions made my hands shake. But as I worked layer by layer, something clicked. Each stroke felt like unlocking a door. A small rebellion against the version of myself the world expected me to be. Then came the heels. I had practiced walking in sneakers 100 times before, but these were different. Each step was precarious, unsteady. My muscles protested. My balance wavered. And yet there was exhilaration in the instability. Each step made me hyper-aware of my body, my posture, the way others might see me. When Isabella finally arrived, she didn't knock. She opened the door, her eyes immediately taking me in. A slow, approving smile spread across her face. "Perfect," she said, voice low, satisfied. "You're ready now. Let's see how you handle the world outside this room." The party wasn't a regular gathering. It was a test. Crowds of students, music thumping through the hall, chatter and laughter like waves against a shore. Every glance in my direction made me feel both exposed and alive. I could feel my heart racing, adrenaline flooding my system. Isabella guided me through the crowd, whispering instructions in my ear. "Hold your head higher. Smile. Make them notice, but not too much." Her hands rested briefly on my elbows, correcting my stance. Each touch sent a jolt through me, both grounding and thrilling. People stared, whispers followed, compliments mixed with curious looks. I felt myself transform, not just in appearance, but in presence. The fear of discovery and the rush of performance collided inside me. Every step, every sway of the dress, every tilt of my head was a dance between anxiety and exhilaration. And the thrill of the secret, the knowledge that only Isabella knew, made me shiver. She had created me in part, but I was beginning to own it. The reflection of myself in the mirror that night, the reactions of the crowd, the secret smiles, everything was part of a dangerous, intoxicating game. But even as I smiled, laughed, and moved through the crowd, a tiny voice in my head whispered warnings. What if someone finds out? What if Isabella pushes too far? What if this changes everything? I had no answers. Only the growing certainty that my life as Ethan Cole, quiet and invisible, was slipping further away with every step in heels, every brush of lipstick, every approving look from Isabella. By the time the night ended, I wasn't the same. I had crossed a threshold. There was no going back. Not entirely. The thrill, the fear, the secret, it had all hooked me. And in the back of my mind, I knew that whatever came next would push me even further. Because this was only the beginning. The night had come. The sorority house glittered under string lights, every corner humming with music, laughter, and the scent of perfume mixed with alcohol. I stood in the hallway outside, heels digging into my feet, dress clinging to me, heart pounding like a drum in a war parade. Every breath felt louder, every sound sharper. Isabella appeared beside me, her hand brushing my elbow as she surveyed the room. Her smile was sharp, knowing, like a predator watching her prey. "Tonight," she whispered, "everyone sees you. No mistakes. Just confidence." Confidence. The word mocked me. Confidence had never been my forte. But the mirror in the foyer reflected a new version of myself. Tall, sleek, daring. A version molded by Isabella, honed in private rehearsals, perfected under her watchful eyes. As we entered the crowded room, heads turned, whispers rose like waves. Some were approving, some curious, others laced with judgment. Every glance burned, yet thrilled me. I felt exposed, but powerful in a strange, twisted way. The first challenge came almost immediately, a toast. The president raised a glass, calling for attention. "Tonight," she announced, "we celebrate our newest queen." Every eye fixed on me. The word hung in the air like a spell. My throat went dry. My hands shook slightly, but Isabella's steadying hand on my shoulder reminded me. This was the game. The stakes were real, and I had to play. Then someone unexpected appeared. A former roommate, one who had always been suspicious, always curious. Their gaze landed on me, and I froze. Recognition flashed in their eyes, then disbelief. "Ethan," they whispered. The words sliced through the music, silencing a portion of the room. Panic surged. Every heartbeat sounded like a siren. My secret life, my rehearsed persona, everything threatened to unravel. Isabella leaned close, whispering in my ear, "Recover. Smile. Play it like you belong." I nodded, forcing my body to obey. Every movement calculated. Each step in heels felt heavier. Each sway of the dress a tightrope walk over disaster. The party continued, but I moved like a performer in a thriller. Each compliment, each curious glance was a threat. Every laugh felt like a potential exposure. My mind raced. Should I flee to the bathroom? Should I confess to Isabella and run? Or should I stay, play the role, and survive this night unscathed? Then Isabella stepped into the spotlight. She raised her glass again, her eyes locked on mine. "Watch her closely," she said to the crowd. "This is the one we've all been waiting for." The crowd erupted into cheers, clinking glasses. My face burned. My heart pounded. I realized then this wasn't just a game for me anymore. It was for everyone to witness. A spectacle that could elevate me or destroy me. Halfway through the night, I was walking across the hardwood floor when disaster struck. One of my heels slipped, sending me stumbling toward the edge of the stage. The room gasped. Time slowed. I grasped for balance, caught only by Isabella's hand. She steadied me, her eyes fierce but approving. "Perfect recovery," she whispered. That moment became symbolic. The heels, the dress, the persona, they were fragile. My control over this dual life was delicate. One misstep, and everything could fall apart. Yet the recovery also sparked exhilaration. I wasn't just surviving. I was commanding attention. The climax escalated when a text buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it at first, too focused on the crowd, the music, the pressure. But the vibration was insistent. I finally checked. It was my roommate. They knew everything. They were coming to the party. A cold sweat ran down my spine. I was trapped. Every exit now became a threat. I looked at Isabella, whose expression didn't falter. Instead, She smiled, sly and dangerous. Looks like tonight gets more interesting. I realized then this wasn't about just playing the role anymore. It was about survival. Could I maintain the illusion under scrutiny? Could I protect my secret while performing in front of everyone? Every movement I made from that point was calculated. Every laugh was forced. Every smile measured. Isabella hovered, whispering cues, correcting posture, ensuring the act never faltered. Then came the final moment, the toast of honor. I was lifted onto the table, center of attention. The room cheered, but the cheering felt like knives, expectant, scrutinizing. And then a hand on my shoulder. Not Isabella's. Not anyone I trusted. My former roommate had arrived. Their gaze was sharp. Suspicion burned in their eyes. "Ethan," they said again, louder this time. "What are you doing?" The room went silent. All eyes on me. My legs shook. The dress felt tight. The heels stabbed into my feet. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I had two choices. Run, exposing everything, or stay and play the queen they wanted me to be. I stayed. I smiled. Every muscle in my body screamed, but I held it together. The crowd erupted in applause, some confused, some approving, some mocking. Isabella leaned close, her lips brushing my ear. "You're mine," she whispered. And just as the music resumed, I caught a glimpse of the reflection in the mirror across the room. Two versions of me, Ethan, terrified, and the queen, poised and dangerous. And I realized I wasn't sure which one I wanted to be. The night wasn't over. Not yet. And whatever happened next would change everything. The party roared behind me, music pulsing like a heartbeat I couldn't control. Every cheer, every clink of glasses felt distant, almost unreal, because all I could focus on was the reflection in the mirror. Two versions of me stared back. Ethan, the quiet, cautious boy who had tried to vanish into his life. And the queen, the confident, poised figure in the black dress and heels that made every head in the room turn. Isabella's hand rested lightly on my back, grounding me, reminding me of her presence and her control. "You did well tonight," she whispered. Her words were sweet, almost gentle, but her eyes held fire. "But remember, the real challenge hasn't started yet." I swallowed hard. The thrill, the fear, the adrenaline, it all crashed together in my chest. Every nerve screamed that the secret I had fought so hard to keep was teetering on the edge. One misstep, one glance, one accidental slip of my facade, and everything would unravel. I scanned the room. Laughter and cheers surrounded me, but shadows lurked. I saw the whispers, the curious glances. Someone remembered last week's game. Someone had noticed how I had moved, how I had looked. And in the corner, my former roommate's eyes burned into me, filled with suspicion and a promise of discovery. I felt exposed, naked even beneath the silky layers of dress and makeup. My heart raced, legs trembling on heels that felt suddenly too high. But the queen version of me, the version Isabella had molded, stood firm. Shoulders back, chin high, smile poised. And then it happened. A phone flashed in the crowd. Someone snapping a picture. The shutter's click felt like a gunshot in my ears. My blood froze. Every eye turned toward me. My secret teetered on the edge of exposure. My breath caught. Isabella leaned in, whispering fiercely, "Don't flinch. Own it. Remember who you are now." I forced myself to smile, to sway gracefully, to respond with the poise I had spent weeks rehearsing. The crowd applauded, some genuinely impressed, some bewildered. But my mind screamed with panic. Then a tap on my shoulder. I spun instinctively, heart hammering, and froze. There he was, my roommate, smirking, holding his phone like a weapon. "Interesting night, Ethan." Or should I say? The room seemed to pause. Silence. All eyes subtly shifting toward us. Isabella's hand tightened on my back. Her gaze flicked to the phone, assessing, calculating. I felt every layer of control slip. Panic surged. My legs threatened to buckle. The heels became traps. The dress felt like a cage. My reflection in the nearby mirror didn't help. Ethan's terrified eyes stared back at me, trapped in the queen's body. And then Isabella moved, swift, confident. She stepped in between us, eyes sharp. "Careful," she said, voice low and deadly. "You have no idea what you're about to start." Her words were both a warning and a promise. Before I could respond, the phone slipped from my roommate's fingers. The crowd erupted in nervous laughter, breaking the tension. But the damage was done. The seed of doubt, the potential exposure, lingered like smoke in the air. I breathed shakily, forced my legs to carry me, and smiled at the cheering crowd. But inside, my chest tightened with dread. The night ended, not with resolution, but with questions. Had my secret been fully protected, or had someone captured it? How far would Isabella push me next? And most terrifying of all, was I still Ethan, or had the queen taken over completely? As I left the sorority house, Isabella's hand lingered on mine, tight, possessive. Her smile was calm, knowing, almost sinister. "Tonight was only the beginning," she said. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because in that moment, I realized the truth. My life had changed forever, and the next time, the stakes would be even higher.